Hi everybody, this is the introduction to Chapter 2 Marketing Strategy Planning. The first thing that we need to be aware of is the difference between what's called the marketing mix and the target market. The marketing mix is often referred to as the 4 Ps of marketing, which is something that you will need to remember and become very familiar with. We'll go through each of those 4 Ps and components of the marketing mix here shortly. But just to start, the marketing mix is a controllable set of variables that the company puts together to satisfy your target market. Now, what you need to know about the target market is that they are a very specific group of people, fairly homogeneous, which means that they are very similar in a lot of different categories that the company is targeting or going after with their marketing mix. So everything that the company is doing in regards to their marketing mix is geared towards this specific group of people. Now, target market should be very specific. It should include different types of demographics, psychographics, buying characteristics, geographic locations. It could include any or all of those things. So you have to be specific with the target market and make sure that it makes sense in regards to the 4 Ps of the marketing mix that we are going to be referring to. Now, here are the 4 Ps of the marketing mix. Price, product, place, and promotion. Place often goes by distribution as well. It doesn't have to be a physical location, but the distribution factor goes along with that. These 4 Ps are something that you must know, must understand, and really comprehend throughout the entire year. Make sure that this specific topic is in your memory, but not just memorizing it, but also truly understanding and, like I said, comprehending what these really refer to. As you notice, the target market is, in essence, like the bullseye here. Everything around the outside, everything in the marketing mix is focused on fulfilling the needs and wants of that target market, that specific group of customers. Now, the first example here is dealing with the product portion of the marketing mix. The product can be a physical good. It can be a service. Physical goods are tangible items. They are things that you can see, you can feel, you can touch them. Services are intangible. Right. Some products can actually be a combination of both goods and services. For example, if you go out to eat at a restaurant and you go to, for example, Red Robin, and you order a burger and fries and a drink, the actual meal, the food itself, is the product portion of it, but the service comes in because they are making it, they are delivering it to you, they are refilling your drinks, refilling your French fries. So it is a combination of both good and service. In regards to the place, you'll notice at the top it talks about channels of distribution. The place is also referred to as distribution. Place can be a physical location, the Kohl's building, the actual location and store of Kohl's itself. It can also be the distribution from the manufacturer to the building itself. If you're looking here at the example, the slide, you'll notice that some types of companies will have what's called a direct channel or direct line of distribution, which goes right from the manufacturer or the producer to you and I as the consumer at the bottom. Insurance companies, they have Geico as an example. Insurance companies are a great example of this because you buy your insurance directly from the company. The second one, if you notice, the second, third, and fourth ones have either green or blue groupings in there, and they're either retailers or wholesalers, but that middle section is often referred to as intermediaries. Intermediaries are middlemen. These are the people who will buy a product from the manufacturer or the producer and then sell it to either us as a consumer or sell it to another intermediary who in turn could sell it to another, and so on and so forth until it eventually gets down to us. The rule of thumb is the more intermediaries that there are between the producer and the consumer, the more expensive it becomes for the consumer because every single intermediary needs to raise the price and make their profit margin on that particular sale. So it becomes a little bit more expensive for us. Toyota is an example of having one intermediary, whereas the manufacturer will send it to, for example, Bobby Rahal Toyota, and then we would buy it from that one particular dealership. Sara Lee could sell their breads and their snacks and all their goodies to a wholesaler in large quantities, and then they break it down into smaller quantities, sell them to retail stores where we can buy them as well, and so on and so forth. So channels of distribution are just another example of the place portion of the 4 Ps. Moving on to the promotion element. With the promotion element, you have personal selling, which is spoken communication between a seller and a possible or a potential customer. A lot of times this is face-to-face. It can be over the phone as well, but it needs to be personal communication from one person to another. All right, that's your personal selling. Mass selling is what most people are familiar with. When people think about marketing, they think about advertising. And mass selling, one major form of mass selling is advertising. And the other form of mass selling is what's called publicity. The major difference between these two, advertising you have to pay for, publicity you do not. Advertising is controlled by the company. Publicity is not controlled by the company. It is newsworthy information that is usually controlled either by individual people or the media. It can be positive, it can be negative. Advertising, the company hopes that it's all positive. It's usually all good stuff, and it's what they want portrayed and how they want it portrayed, even where and when they want it portrayed. Publicity is going to be controlled by the media or by individual people just talking about stuff that they hear about. So advertising and publicity are very similar, but they're very different in the same regard in that situation. You have to make sure that you understand that publicity can be negative. Bad things happen. Companies and individual people want to try to avoid that information getting out, leaked out to the public, and if it does, it can be very detrimental and hurtful to them. Sales promotions are activities that are not personal selling, not advertising, not publicity, that is used to try to encourage people to buy or at least try a product. These can be sales. These can be also coupons. You have your buy one, get one free. It can be free trials. Anything like that that tries to stimulate the purchase or at least the interest into a product or a service. All right, so that there is the promotion element of the marketing mix. The price element, you'll notice here that there are 6 characteristics or parts to this. With the price, you got to make sure that you are pricing your product at a reasonable price point. Too high and people might not be interested, too low and you're not making enough profit. So you need to be flexible with your pricing, be able to adjust if needed. If the price is too high, you can lower it. If it's too low, you can raise it. Just as a little side note here, psychologically, it's better to start your prices higher and then lower them. The people, consumers, current consumers or potential consumers will actually think they're getting it on sale or a better deal and might be more interested or possibly buy a product rather than if the price jumps up considerably. You have to think of it over the life cycle of the product. As products become outdated, they usually drop in price. When they're usually new, they're a little bit higher, so keep that in mind. You can allow discounts to potentially happen, allowances for other companies to try to bring the prices down, make it more affordable, or incentive for them to buy larger quantities of those. Geographic pricing terms based upon where people are that are buying the product. You could have different price points depending upon their actual location, which is usually happens a lot. Also, the competition. I think about gas prices. A lot of gas stations that are in close proximity to each other, they have a lot of the same or very similar prices for their gas. If one company had 20 cents a gallon cheaper than another, most people would actually go to that one gas station. So competition has that pricing element wrapped around its finger as well. Numerous stores do price match guarantees, and they can beat the highest price or the lowest price that you can find. So it's a really good deal, and it's something that companies will strive to create because they want to keep your business, they want to get your business, and they want to keep it because it's cheaper for them to keep you as a customer than it is to try to go out and find new customers. Lastly, the 4 Ps all together have to be directly related to and working with your target market selection. You have to know who the people are and develop your products or even upgrades or changes to your products revolving around who these people are and what they need and what they want. This brings us to the end of this portion of Chapter 2, and we will continue on with the rest of Chapter 2 in the next video. Have a good one.